Have you ever wondered why certain people enter your life at exactly the right moment? Why some connections feel inevitable, as if they were written in the stars long before you ever met? And why others, no matter how hard you try, simply cannot connect with you on a deeper level? There's an invisible force operating in your relationships that most people don't understand. Carl Jung called it the law of resonance, and it explains why no one, absolutely no one, enters your life by chance. Today you're going to discover how this law works in practice, why you attract exactly the people you need to meet even when it doesn't make sense at first glance, and how to use this knowledge to completely transform the quality of your relationships. Because when you understand the law of resonance, you stop seeing encounters as coincidences and start recognizing the secret language the universe uses to guide you. If you want to finally understand why your relationships happen the way they do, stay until the end. Because what I'm about to reveal could forever change how you see the people who are or who have been in your life. Carl Jung revolutionized our understanding of human relationships when he discovered that we're not isolated islands of consciousness, but rather interconnected parts of a much larger psychic network. The law of resonance operates through this collective field of consciousness. When you vibrate at a particular emotional, psychological, or spiritual frequency, you automatically attract people who are in tune with that vibration, or who carry exactly what you need to grow, heal, or awaken. But here's the crucial point that few understand. This attraction doesn't happen only at the conscious level. In fact, most of the law of resonance operates through the unconscious. You might even believe you want a specific type of person, but your unconscious is constantly attracting experiences based on what you actually need to live through, not what you think you want. Jung discovered that we carry within us a series of emotional complexes, patterns of thought, feeling, and behavior that were formed primarily during our childhood and continue to influence our relationship choices unconsciously. When you meet someone, you're not just reacting to the person in front of you, but also to the complexes they activate within you. That's why some people awaken inexplicable feelings in you, whether it's intense attraction, immediate dislike, or a strange sense of familiarity. They're not just being themselves, they're functioning as mirrors of your own unresolved psychic contents. The law of resonance also explains why certain people appear at specific moments in your life. When you're ready for a particular lesson, to heal a specific wound, or to develop an aspect of your personality, the universe conspires to bring exactly the person who can catalyze that process. It's not coincidence, it's cosmic precision. Jung observed that the most transformative connections frequently involve what he called attraction of opposites. You tend to connect deeply with people who carry qualities you've repressed or never developed. The introvert falls for the extrovert. The rational person is drawn to the intuitive one. The controller is fascinated by the spontaneous soul. This attraction of opposites isn't psychological masochism, it's unconscious wisdom. Your psyche knows that to become a complete person, you need to integrate aspects of yourself that were left behind. And one of the most effective ways to do this is through relationships that force you to come into contact with these rejected parts. The law of resonance operates on 3 distinct levels, each with its own characteristics and evolutionary purposes. Understanding these levels is fundamental to decoding why certain people enter your life and what specific role they came to play. At the first level, you attract people who directly reflect aspects of your current personality. These are the most comfortable connections, where you feel immediately understood and accepted. You share similar values, have similar interests, react similarly to life situations. These relationships serve as validation and support. They confirm that you're not alone in the world, that there are other people who think and feel like you do. These are relationships that strengthen your current identity and offer the comfort of familiarity. However, Jung warned that relationships based only on mirror resonance can become limiting if they last too long. When 2 people are too similar, they can settle into comfort zones that prevent mutual growth. It's like always looking in the same mirror, comfortable, but not transformative. The second level is where the law of resonance becomes more complex and powerful. Here, you attract people who carry aspects of your shadow, all those parts of you that were repressed, denied, or rejected throughout life. Jung defined the shadow as everything you decided isn't you, but which is actually an integral part of your psyche. It could be the anger you learned to repress, the vulnerability you consider weakness, the creativity you sacrificed for security, or the spontaneity you traded for control. When you meet someone who manifests these qualities openly, your initial reaction might be fascination or repulsion, sometimes both simultaneously. You feel drawn to what this person represents, but also uncomfortable, because they're living parts of you that you don't allow yourself to express. Shadow resonance relationships are often the most intense and transformative. They force you to confront aspects of yourself you preferred to ignore. They can be uncomfortable, challenging, even painful, but they're essential for complete psychological growth. The third level is the rarest and deepest. Here, you encounter people with whom you have a connection that transcends personality and touches directly on the essence of your being. Jung called this a meeting between the true self of two people, the most authentic and integral part of each one. These connections are characterized by immediate and profound recognition, as if you've known each other for lifetimes. There's communication that goes beyond words, a mutual understanding that doesn't need explanation. You feel seen and accepted at the deepest possible level. Soul resonance relationships are often marked by intense synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem orchestrated by a higher force. You think of each other at the same time, appear in each other's lives at crucial moments, have similar dreams or parallel experiences that defy logical explanation. Jung believed these encounters are rare because they require both people to have reached a significant level of psychological development. You need to know your own shadow, have integrated rejected aspects of personality, and be in touch with your authentic self to recognize and sustain this type of connection. One of the most common questions people ask is, why do I always end up with complicated people? Or, why can't I attract healthy relationships? The answer, according to Jung, lies in understanding that you don't attract difficult people by bad luck or misfortune. You attract them because your psyche still has important lessons to learn through these experiences. Every difficult person who enters your life is actually a disguised teacher. They carry within them the keys to heal unresolved emotional wounds, break limiting patterns, or develop aspects of your personality that are still immature. For example, if you constantly attract emotionally unavailable people, this might be reflecting your own difficulty with emotional intimacy. Your psyche is trying to teach you about vulnerability, about the importance of truly opening up, about how to create genuine connections. The unavailable person is the perfect scenario for you to practice these lessons. If you always get involved with people who need to be saved, this might indicate you have unresolved issues related to your own personal worth. Perhaps you unconsciously believe you only have value when you're being useful to someone, or that you need to sacrifice yourself to deserve love. The person who needs saving offers you the opportunity to examine and transform these beliefs. Jung observed that the people who most irritate or challenge us are often those we have the most to learn from. They push our emotional buttons precisely because they're touching wounds that need healing, or patterns that need breaking. The same principle applies to abusive or toxic relationships. As painful as it is to recognize, you don't attract this type of relationship by chance. Usually, there are deep wounds related to self-worth, dysfunctional family patterns being repeated, or lessons about establishing healthy boundaries that haven't been learned yet. This doesn't mean you're to blame for the abuse or that you should remain in destructive situations. It means that when you heal the internal wounds that made this attraction possible, you naturally stop resonating with people who vibrate at that toxic frequency. The law of resonance also explains why some people seem to repeat the same relationship patterns indefinitely. They change partners but continue living the same dynamics, the same conflicts, the same frustrations. This happens because the internal wounds that create these attractions haven't been healed, so they continue magnetizing similar experiences. The good news is that once you understand this mechanism, you can consciously use the law of resonance to attract healthier and more evolutionary relationships. When you do the necessary inner work healing wounds, integrating rejected aspects, developing genuine self-esteem, your vibration changes, and you automatically begin attracting people who vibrate at this higher frequency. Unconscious attraction is one of the most fascinating aspects of the law of resonance. Jung discovered that long before you consciously decide whether you like someone or not, your unconscious has already made a complex evaluation of this person based on factors your conscious mind doesn't even perceive. This unconscious evaluation takes into account not only the person's words and actions, but also their body language, tone of voice, emotional energy, and even what Jung called psychic climate, a subtle quality of presence that reflects someone's deep inner state. When you feel inexplicable attraction to someone, or immediate dislike you can't logically justify, this is your unconscious reacting to this deep evaluation. It's detecting compatibilities or incompatibilities that exist at much more subtle levels than surface personality. Jung observed that the unconscious is especially sensitive to authenticity. It can detect when someone is being genuine versus when they're playing a role, even when you don't consciously perceive the difference. This is one of the reasons why some people make you feel immediately at ease, while others, even though they're objectively pleasant, cause subtle discomfort. Unconscious attraction also operates through what Jung called archetypal recognition. Certain people activate specific archetypes in you, universal patterns of behavior and meaning that are programmed into the collective unconscious. When you meet someone who perfectly embodies an archetype that resonates with your current life moment, the attraction can be overwhelming. For example, if you're in a phase of transition and growth, you might feel intensely drawn to someone who embodies the guide or mentor archetype. If you're seeking emotional healing, you might be magnetized by someone who represents the healer archetype. If you're ready for profound transformation, you might be attracted to someone who manifests the transformer archetype. This archetypal attraction explains why sometimes you fall in love with people who, objectively, aren't ideal for you. You're not falling in love with the person themselves, but with the archetype they represent, and the growth possibilities that archetype offers. Jung also discovered that the unconscious projects onto other people qualities that you possess, but haven't yet recognized in yourself. When you're fascinated by someone's creativity, courage, or wisdom, it's often because these qualities exist latently within you, waiting to be developed. This unconscious projection is one of the reasons why the beginning of many relationships is so intense and magical. You're literally falling in love with parts of yourself that you see reflected in the other. The problem arises when you realize the real person doesn't perfectly match the projection, leading to disillusionment and conflict. Unconscious attraction is also influenced by unresolved family patterns. Your unconscious tends to be attracted to people who recreate familiar family dynamics, even when those dynamics were painful. This happens because the unconscious seeks opportunities to heal old wounds, and often tries to do this by recreating similar situations with the hope of a different outcome. Jung introduced the concept of synchronicity to explain those meaningful coincidences that seem orchestrated by a higher intelligence. In relationships, synchronicities are one of the most elegant ways the law of resonance manifests. When you're ready to meet someone important, the universe begins creating a series of apparently casual events that culminate in the encounter. You might decide to go somewhere you normally don't frequent, arrive late to an appointment, and therefore cross paths with someone, or simply feel you should be in a certain place at a certain time. These synchronicities are especially intense when it comes to soul connections. Jung observed that the more significant an encounter is for the psychological development of the people involved, the more synchronicities tend to surround it. It's as if the universe is conspiring to ensure these people meet, removing obstacles and creating opportunities. Often these synchronicities begin long before the physical encounter. You might start hearing the person's name repeatedly, have dreams that later prove prophetic, or go through experiences that you'll later discover were parallel to what the person was experiencing during the same period. Jung believed synchronicities were evidence of an underlying order in the universe that connects events through meaning, not just causality. When two people are destined to meet for mutual evolutionary purposes, this underlying order orchestrates circumstances so the encounter happens at the ideal moment. The intensity of synchronicities often reflects the spiritual importance of the connection. Relationships that come to teach minor lessons might be accompanied by few coincidences, but connections that come to profoundly transform the lives of the people involved are often surrounded by a series of synchronistic events that defy logical explanation. After the initial encounter, synchronicities often continue as a form of cosmic validation of the connection's importance. You might discover you have surprisingly parallel life stories, that you pass through the same places at different times, or that people from your social circles know each other in unexpected ways. Jung also observed that synchronicities can serve as guidance during the relationship's development. When you're facing an important decision about the relationship, you might receive synchronistic signs that offer clarity about the path forward. These signs can come through apparently casual conversations, books that fall into your hands, or situations that offer insights into the nature of the connection. It's important to note that not all coincidences are true synchronicities. Jung emphasized that genuine synchronicities are characterized by a specific emotional quality, a sense of meaning that resonates deeply in the soul. They carry a feeling of rightness, or destiny, that's unmistakable when experienced. Once you understand how the law of resonance operates, you can use this knowledge to consciously transform the quality of your relationships. This doesn't mean manipulating or controlling others, but rather working with your own internal vibration to attract connections more aligned with who you truly are. The first step is developing what Jung called Awareness of projections. This means learning to recognize when you're seeing in the other something that actually exists within you. When you feel strongly attracted to or repelled by someone, ask the question, what does this person reflect about myself? If you deeply admire someone's confidence, explore how you can develop more confidence in yourself. If you're irritated by someone's laziness, examine whether you have unresolved issues about rest, pleasure, or giving yourself permission to be human. When you integrate these qualities into yourself, you stop needing to find them or reject them in others. The second step is consciously working with your unresolved emotional wounds. Every problematic relationship pattern you repeat is rooted in a wound that needs healing. This might require therapy, deep self-knowledge work, or practices like meditation and journaling that help you access deeper layers of the psyche. Jung emphasized that true healing happens when you can feel the wound completely without being dominated by it. This means developing the ability to be present with your emotional pain without immediately seeking relief through relationships, substances, or distractions. When you can be with yourself in all your emotional states, you stop needing others to fill your voids. The third step is cultivating a deeper connection with your authentic self. Jung saw the self as the organizing center of the psyche, the part of you that knows who you really are beyond social roles, family expectations, or defensive adaptations. When you live from the self, you automatically attract people who recognize and value your authenticity. Practices that strengthen connection with the self include meditation, time in nature, creative expression, and any activity that makes you feel more genuinely yourself. When you know who you are and have the courage to be that in the world, you stop attracting people who want you to be someone different. The fourth step is learning to distinguish between connections that serve mutual growth and those based on dependency or neediness. Healthy relationships are characterized by a quality of choice you're with the person because you genuinely want to be, not because you need them to feel complete. Jung observed that the most emotionally mature people tend to attract each other precisely because they don't need each other. They choose each other from abundance, not from lack. This creates more stable and satisfying relationships because both people maintain their individual integrity while participating in the connection. The fifth step is developing the ability to honor the natural timing of relationships. Not every connection is destined to last forever, and not every relationship that ends was a failure. Some relationships come to teach specific lessons, and once those lessons are learned, it's natural for the connection to transform or end. When you stop trying to force relationships to last beyond their natural time, you open space for new connections to enter your life. This requires developing the ability to be grateful for each relationship for what it taught you, even when it didn't last as you hoped. Jung believed relationships are one of the most powerful paths to psychological healing. When you understand the law of resonance, you can consciously use your relationships as tools for growth and personal transformation. Every person who enters your life offers unique healing opportunities. Those who challenge you are showing where you still need to grow. Those who support you are reflecting your own worth and potential. Those who hurt you are revealing wounds that need attention and care. Instead of avoiding difficult relationships, you can learn to see them as development opportunities. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse or disrespect, but rather recognizing that each relationship challenge carries valuable information about your inner world. For example, if you constantly attract critical people, this might be reflecting a severe inner critic you direct at yourself. Working to develop self-compassion and a gentler inner voice can transform this attraction pattern. If you frequently feel rejected or abandoned, this might be connected to childhood abandonment wounds that haven't been healed yet. Doing the necessary therapeutic work to heal these wounds can revolutionize your ability to create and maintain secure relationships. Healing through relationships also happens when you learn to be truly vulnerable with other people. Jung observed that authentic vulnerability is one of the most magnetic qualities that exists. When you have the courage to show your imperfections, fears, and growth areas, you create space for others to do the same. This mutual vulnerability is what creates genuine intimacy. It allows you to be known and loved for who you really are, not for an edited version of yourself. When you experience being completely accepted in your imperfect humanity, this heals deep wounds related to self-worth and belonging. Jung also emphasized the importance of forgiveness in relationships. This doesn't mean accepting unacceptable behaviors, but rather releasing the emotional weight you carry about past hurts. Forgiveness is primarily a gift you give yourself, freeing energy that was trapped in resentment, so it can flow again in love and creation. When you forgive genuinely both yourself and others, your vibration rises. You stop carrying the emotional density of resentment and bitterness, which automatically changes the type of people you attract. People who still carry a lot of resentment tend to attract others who vibrate at the same frequency of pain and anger. Healing through relationships also involves learning to celebrate healthy interdependence. Contrary to popular belief, total independence isn't the goal of mature relationships. The goal is to develop what Jung called interdependent independence, the ability to be a complete person who chooses to share their life with other complete people. This means being able to be alone without feeling lonely, but also being able to connect deeply without losing your individual identity. When you achieve this balance, your relationships become sources of joy and mutual growth, not drama and dependency. Jung observed that the most emotionally evolved people are those who can maintain their personal integrity while connecting authentically with others. They don't need to sacrifice who they are to be loved, nor do they demand that others sacrifice themselves for them. This is the foundation of truly transformative relationships. Within the law of resonance, there exists a special type of connection that Jung identified as an encounter between souls who share a common spiritual mission or deep compatibility on multiple levels. These connections are rare, but when they happen, they're unmistakable. A special person is someone who resonates with you not just in one or two aspects, but in virtually all dimensions of your being. There's emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and energetic compatibility. When you meet this person, there's a sense of coming home that transcends any common attraction you've ever experienced. These connections are often marked by a natural ease that surprises both people. There's no need to pretend to be someone different, to work hard to maintain harmony, or to constantly negotiate fundamental differences. Communication flows naturally, silences are comfortable, and you feel energized, not drained, by each other's presence. Jung observed that special people often recognize each other through the eyes. There's a quality of recognition that goes beyond common familiarity. It's as if you've known each other for a long time, even though you've just met. This feeling of déjà vu is often accompanied by a deep sense of gratitude for the encounter. Another distinctive sign of a special connection is the mutual ability to naturally and effortlessly catalyze each other's growth. You don't just feel good with this person, but you also feel inspired to be the best version of yourself. They don't try to change or fix you, but their presence naturally evokes your highest qualities. These connections are also characterized by a sense of shared purpose that goes beyond the relationship itself. You might not only enjoy each other's company, but also feel that together you can contribute something meaningful to the world. It could be something grand like a humanitarian mission, or something simple like creating a loving family. The important thing is the feeling that you're more powerful and effective together than apart. Jung emphasized that recognizing a special person requires a significant level of emotional and spiritual maturity. If you're still dealing with deep, unhealed wounds, active, unresolved complexes, or destructive relationship patterns, you might not be ready to sustain this type of connection. That's why these people often appear after you've already done substantial personal growth work. When you meet a special person, it's crucial to honor the sacredness of the connection. This doesn't mean idealizing them or putting them on a pedestal that would just be another form of projection. It means recognizing that this type of encounter is a rare gift that deserves care, patience, and reverence. It means being present, being vulnerable, and allowing the connection to develop in its own natural time. It's also important to distinguish between a genuine special connection and an intense projection or attraction based on neediness. The difference lies in the quality of energy and the impact the relationship has on you. A special connection makes you feel more yourself, more centered, more connected to your own essence and purpose. An intense projection might be exciting, but often leaves you feeling off-center, anxious, or dependent on the other person's validation. Understanding the law of resonance intellectually is just the first step. True transformation happens when you apply this knowledge in practice. The essential strategy is developing acute awareness of your automatic reactions to people. When you feel intense attraction, repulsion, or irritation, stop and ask yourself, what is this person reflecting about me? What aspect of my personality or unhealed wound are they mirroring? Keep a journal of these observations, noting reactions and patterns. You might discover you're irritated by lazy people, reflecting your need to relax, or attracted to confident people, indicating where you need to develop security. Identify qualities you admire or detest in others. Make 2 lists and explore how each characteristic exists within you. The goal is to reclaim projections and consciously integrate these qualities. Develop regular practices of energetic cleansing through meditation, exercise, time in nature, or conscious breathing. Jung emphasized that the quality of your inner energy determines the people you attract. When you cultivate inner peace and self-love, you magnetize people with these qualities. Before social situations, set clear intentions about the energy you want to radiate and the people you wish to attract. For example, I radiate authenticity and attract people who value genuine connection. Practice authentic communication, expressing true feelings gradually. Observe reactions. Those who make you feel safe to be vulnerable deserve intimacy. Those who judge your authenticity show incompatibility. Develop specific gratitude for all relationships, including difficult ones. Be thankful for both those who support you and those who challenge you. This practice transforms your perspective, releasing energy trapped in the past. Spend regular time alone, connecting with yourself. When you're comfortable with your own company, you stop seeking relationships to fill voids and choose them to express fullness. Analyze recurring patterns honestly. The problems you complain about in others often reflect unresolved issues in you. By healing these internal issues, external patterns change automatically. Use visualization to clarify desired relationships, focusing on the energetic quality of connection, not superficial characteristics. Finally, forgive past relationships that caused pain. This doesn't mean accepting unacceptable behaviors, but releasing emotional weight that blocks new healthy connections. Conscious forgiveness allows you to attract relationships based on love and mutual growth. These practices, applied consistently, transform not just your relationships, but your relationship with yourself. The law of resonance teaches us that we're not passive victims of our romantic encounters and disappointments, we're active co-creators of every relational experience we live. When you truly understand that no one enters your life by chance, that each person carries specific messages for your evolution, and that you have the power to consciously transform your internal vibration to attract more aligned connections, your entire relational experience transforms. You stop blaming others for your relationship experiences and take total responsibility for the energy you're emanating. You stop trying to control or change people and focus on the inner work that can naturally transform the type of connections you magnetize. You stop seeing relationships as a source of completeness and start seeing them as sacred mirrors for your spiritual growth. This understanding doesn't necessarily make relationships easier, but it makes them infinitely more meaningful and transformative. Every challenge becomes a healing opportunity. Every conflict becomes a chance for growth. Every connection becomes a window into deeper aspects of yourself that haven't been fully explored or integrated yet. Jung believed that the ultimate goal of human life is individualization, the process of becoming truly who you are in your most authentic essence. And relationships, in all their complexity and beauty, are one of the primary tools through which this process happens. They force us to grow, challenge us to heal, and inspire us to love in increasingly mature and expansive ways. The law of resonance also reminds us that we're all deeply interconnected. When you heal a wound in yourself, it positively affects all the people around you. When you develop more self-love, it creates an energetic field that allows others to love themselves more too. When you integrate rejected aspects of your personality, it gives permission for others to also be more whole and authentic. Remember, you're not just seeking relationships, you're being actively sought by them. Your soul is constantly sending signals to the universe about the type of connections you're ready to receive and sustain. When you do the necessary inner work, when you heal old wounds, when you become more authentic and loving with yourself, you automatically begin attracting people who vibrate at this same elevated frequency. The universe is constantly conspiring to bring you exactly the people you need to meet for your growth and evolution. Your only responsibility is to be ready to receive them with an open heart, a clear mind, and the wisdom to recognize the unique gifts each encounter offers. Now that you understand how the law of resonance works, you can look at all your relationships past, present, and future with new eyes. Every person in your life is there for a specific and sacred reason. Every relationship, regardless of how it ended, contributed to who you are today. And every new encounter that's coming carries infinite possibilities for growth, healing, and love. The journey of conscious relationships is one of the most transformative adventures you can undertake. It's a path that leads you ever closer to your true essence, while connecting you more deeply and authentically with other human beings who are on the same awakening journey. If this content touched your soul and made you see your relationships in a new light, leave in the comments, I recognize that no one enters my life by chance. And if you want to continue exploring the deepest mysteries of the human psyche and the secrets of the connections that unite us, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Thank you for being part of this awakening journey. May you attract and sustain relationships that honor who you truly are, and may each encounter be an opportunity to express and experience more love, growth, and authentic connection. See you in the next video.